in term 2, right, Fatima?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so acha. So let us revise a bit, okay? Do you guys read whatever I teach like after the class? Do you read the notes? How many of you read the notes now? Tell me. Starting with Amalya, do you read notes after the class?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, okay. It feels like it's like a option. Okay, what? Okay, same then. Okay, so we did a number of methods of preparation, right? Number of methods of preparation for aldehyde and ketones, and then we did only for aldehyde, and then we did for only for ketones. Okay, so can we start with the starting? I mean, let us start. Amalya, what was the first method of preparation that we did? Can you look at your notes and tell me?
So you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you, Amalya.
We did preparation of alcohol.
Preparation of alcohol? No, that is the previous chapter. No, I'm talking about this chapter, aldehyde and ketones. Preparation of alcohols or from alcohols? Yes, guys, what happened? Acha. Yes, Sanya, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Preparation of ketones and aldehydes we did first.
Okay, and what was the first method of preparation?
First from alcohol.
From alcohol, okay. So from alcohol, Fatima, you tell me, can I make only aldehydes or only ketones or both of them? Tell me.
We can use primary alcohol to make aldehyde and secondary alcohol to make ketone.
Ketones. Okay, that means we can make both of them. So from alcohol, I can divide that alcohols into two parts, and I can use the 1 degree, that means the primary, and I can use also the 2 degree alcohol. So from 1 degree, I'm getting aldehyde, and from 2 degree, I'm getting ketones. Okay, and we are using any one of the oxidizing agent. So can you name one of the oxidizing agent? So I will be using PCC. Okay, so you remember PCC. Okay, if you want to prepare. No problem with the noise. Okay, I don't have a problem with noise. Okay. And what was the next method of preparation? Also, please remember that you will use PCC only when they are asking you to prepare aldehyde or ketones from alcohol. But you can be given some alcohol. Okay, you can be given some alcohol, and there must be some reagent such as, let us say, KMNO4. Okay, so you have to remember that KMNO4 is also a oxidizing agent. Similarly, you will have K2CR2O7 and some of other oxidizing agent. So in that case, you have to know these reagents also. But whenever you are going to use alcohol, for the safe side, you will be using PCC. Okay. Next, what is the next method of preparation? Right?
Dehydrogenation of alcohol.
Yeah, right. Dehydrogenation of alcohol, right? So again, from alcohol. Now from this method, what can I do? Can I prepare both of them or? Yes, tell me.
Both of them.
You can prepare both of them, right? So again, the criteria is again, that's 1 degree and 2 degree.
So what?
The criteria for aldehyde and ketone is the same, that 1 degree will give me aldehyde and 2 degree will give me ketone, or is this something else?
It is by using copper and silver.
Copper and silver we will use, and we will like pass the vapors of alcohol, right, on heavy metals like copper and silver. Yeah. But what I'm asking is, like, if I have CH3, CH2, OH, and I am passing this over copper, let us say, and this must be hot, right? This must be hot. Let us do some heat here. Then what I'm going to get? I'm going to get aldehyde or ketones. And what is the difference if I use something like this? a second degree, a 2-degree alcohol. We did not write this.
We did.
We did.
Yes.
We wrote this, na?
Yes,
Tell
sir.
me. This is the thing that I want you guys. Now you should be well aware of where the things are. Okay, where the things are. See, 1-degree alcohol, 2-degree alcohol, even 3-degree alcohol. We said that it will be forming alkenes. Okay, it will not be forming aldehyde ketones. Okay, so this is the thing that I want from you guys, that you at least know where the things are in your notes. So while I'm asking you something, then you can easily refer back to the notes. Okay, I'm not taking a test here. You have your notes with yourself. Now, until unless you are well versed with the notes that you have on which page, on the right page or the left page, the things are there. If you don't have that clear picture in your head, you can't remember it in your examination. Okay, so please try to revise daily organic chemistry. Okay, please try to revise daily. Okay, now, so I was just making a point that please revise. Okay, even if
Okay, sir.
even if you have the notes and you don't know where the things are, it is very problematic, है ना? चलिए. Next we are going to do physical properties, and one more thing I will add is that please don't procrastinate and don't leave things for tomorrow for organic chemistry. Even if you're giving, please flip the pages at least daily. Okay, make this a habit of at least reading the topics that you have learned daily. Don't solve problems, that's not a matter. You will be solving problems when you have some pressure, but if you're looking at your notes, you must be knowing where to go from problems to theory, where to go from problems to theory. Okay, right now, physical properties of aldehyde and ketones. Have I made it this clear? Yes or no, guys?
Yes,
Abir,
sir.
Ahmed? Yes. What
Yes,
about you,
sir.
Mariam? आप हैं कि नहीं हैं? Is Mariam here? Yeah, Mariam is here. Are you not able to turn the mic on? Okay, right, physical properties. What about you guys, huh? Abir and Ahmed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Yeah, okay, Mariam, rejoin. Physical properties of aldehyde. Aldehyde and ketones. Okay, so there are a few physical properties that you need to remember. Yeah, can you turn the mic on now, Mariam?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. First thing is the physical state. Okay, first thing is the physical state. Physical state. Physical state means whether in solid, liquid, or gases or something. Okay, now methanol, that is we have methanol, that is only methanol. It is a gas and it is also pungent smelling gas. Okay, with the pungent smell, methanol. Then we have ethanol, and then we have some other aldehyde and ketones. They all are colorless liquid. Okay, so after methanol, that means only one carbon here is there. Okay, then we have ethanol and higher aldehydes and ketones up to 11 carbon are colorless liquid. They are colorless liquid. Now, higher than 11 carbon are solid. Okay, but important point is this methanol is a gas. Okay, with a pungent smell. They must be asking about this part only. They will not ask about whether the 11 carbons and higher than 11 carbons, what states they are present. They will ask about methanol. Second point is regarding the smell. Okay, smell. Now smell is important because aldehyde and ketones, they are used in your fragrance and stuff. Okay, aldehyde and ketones. Okay, so in the methanol, that means the lower lower aldehydes have unpleasant smell. Okay, unpleasant smell, but higher ones and generally ketones have pleasant smell. Have pleasant smell. Okay. So, like as the alkyl group starts to increase, now the pungent smell and the unpleasant smell, it starts to decrease, and as you have higher and higher alkyl group attached to the aldehyde of the ketone, you have more and more pleasant smell. Okay, you have more and more pleasant smell. Third is the solubility. Solubility. Please write aldehyde and ketones up to 4 carbons are miscible. That means they can dissolve in water. Okay, are miscible in water. Okay, now why are these miscible in water? Because due to the dominance of hydrogen bonding. See, when you have water is oxygen, it is bonded to hydrogen and hydrogen. Now these hydrogen, they can be hydrogen bonded with the oxygen of carbonyl, okay, and that is why what happens, that is why up to 4 carbons we have a dominance of hydrogen bonding. But after 4 carbons, you can say that if we have aldehyde and ketones, if this is the aldehyde, to say, okay, this is the aldehyde, this much part is responsible for the dissolution. That means only carbonyl group, only the C double bond O, it is responsible for hydrogen bonding. That means only this much part is responsible for the, this is what you can say is the hydrophilic part. Okay, hydrophilic part of the molecule, and this much, a very large fragment, would be hydrophobic. That means if I increase the alkyl chain, hydrophilicity or the miscibility of aldehyde and ketone, it will keep on decreasing if I increase the alkyl group. If the alkyl group is small and up to 4 carbons, they are completely miscible. Okay, but if I go on increasing the alkyl, the number of carbon atoms, then what will happen? The miscibility will decrease. Okay, so write 1 point. The solubility of aldehydes and ketones decrease significantly on increasing the alkyl chain, alkyl chain length. Okay, what you can write in water. Okay, solubility of alkyl ketones in water. Please write in water. Okay, this is important, in water. However, aldehydes and ketones are soluble in non-polar solvent. Non-polar solvents. Write this down, let me know if you're done. Then we will look at the last point, that is the boiling point. Okay. Done, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Is there anyone who is still writing? No. Okay. Next is the boiling point. Okay, Sanya. Boiling point. Okay. That means here we are going to compare the intermolecular forces of attraction. So as we can see, C double bond O carbonyl. Hai na? So if we have carbon and then there is an oxygen like this. So this carbonyl group is common in both aldehyde and ketones, So here we'll be having a delta negative charge and here we'll be having a delta positive charge. So this is a kind of a dipole that we can see. So hence we can say it is a polar molecule. It is polar. Hence we can say aldehyde and ketones. Aldehydes and ketones have higher boiling point than non-polar substances such as alkanes and weakly polar molecules such as ethers. Ethers can be one of the examples. Ethers, which are weakly polar molecules such as ethers. Okay. However, due to absence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding, in the absence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding, aldehyde and ketones have lower boiling point than alcohols and carboxylic acids. Okay, and carboxylic acids. Next point, like among aldehyde and ketones, with the same number of carbon atoms, then which has higher boiling point? So ketones have higher boiling point than the aldehydes. In isomeric means same molecular formula. Okay, in isomeric aldehydes and ketones, the ketones tend to have higher boiling points. So I hope you remember, like whenever you are seeing boiling points and you are comparing some of the molecules, you always have to compare molecules with somewhat comparable molecular masses. Okay, so for example, you can compare if you have 4, 5 carbon and 6 carbon. Yeah, fine. but you cannot compare 5 carbons, a molecule with 5 carbons and a molecule with 15 carbons. Okay, so all the comparisons that we are talking, they are with comparable molecular masses, because molecular mass is one of the factors which affect the boiling point. Okay, then we have to see now when the molecular masses are same or they are somewhat same, then we can say that we can look at the intermolecular forces of attraction, like hydrogen bonding, dipole interactions. Acha, let me write one more thing. So the intermolecular forces of attraction here, it will be dipole interaction. Okay, dipole interaction in the aldehyde and ketones, dipole interactions. Okay, write a question. Arrange the following. Arrange the following in increasing order of their boiling point. You have CH3, CH2, 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 CHO. In the B, you have how many carbons? 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, right? So similarly, you'll have CH3, CH2, 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 OH. C, let us say you have CH3, CH2, oxygen, CH2, CH3, and at last you have CH3, CH2, CH2, CH2. Let me add one more CH3. Okay, so if you compare here, first of all, you categorize these things. Okay, you can see that all of them have all of these have similar kind of molar masses, because you have oxygen and hydrogen, which is going to weigh how much? Oxygen and hydrogen is going to weigh how much? Oxygen 16 plus 1 17, right? Similarly, the carbon and 3 hydrogens, they're also going to weigh how much? 17 only, right? So you can say that all of them have comparable molecular masses, even though the number of carbon atoms are a bit different, not much different, bit different, but the molecular masses are same. So you can directly compare the intermolecular forces of attraction. But before that, you need to classify them. This is aldehyde, and this is alcohol, and this is ether, and this is alkane. So aldehyde, it is a polar molecule, so dipole interaction. Alcohol, it is what? It is hydrogen bonding interaction, right? Hydrogen bond. Ether, it is weakly polar. And here you have non-polar. Okay, this is non-polar. Now you can arrange them in the increasing order of their intermolecular forces of attraction, because the boiling point is directly proportional to the intermolecular forces of attraction. Now you can say that which has the least intermolecular forces of attraction. So non-polar now, so it has, yeah, dipole is the least, or dipole is the least, Ahmed?
No, sir, non-polar.
Non-polar molecules, only van der Waals forces, है ना? So you will have D followed by C, right? Because it is weakly polar.
Yes.
Then you have A, that is dipole, and then you have the B. Achha, how many of you remember how to arrange? So first of all, see, in the organic molecules, I'm talking about only organic molecules, the highest intermolecular forces of attraction is for hydrogen bonding. Secondly, it will be followed by dipole. Okay. Hey, you guys don't know this? Fatima, Marim, कुछ response भी नहीं आता आप लोगों का? You guys have forgotten everything. Please start reading. In every chapter we have done this now. Boiling point, melting point. In every chapter, let me see if I have alcohols here. You guys, बच गए आप लोग. Alcohols नहीं है. Fine. So after dipole, it is the weakly dipole. Okay, weakly polar will be next. Weakly polar. It is completely polar. This is weakly polar. And the fourth one, you will have non-polar molecules. Okay. So the intermolecular forces of attraction is decreasing if I go from 1 to 4. If I go from 1 to 4. Please write this down. Let me know if you're done. Then we will
Yes, sir.
start the chemical properties. Yes, tell me what happened, Ahmed.
Yes, sir. Done.
Done, all of you? Okay. Right now, chemical properties of. Now I want you to do, I want things. Okay, I want one question. Amalya, can you turn the mic on?
Yes, sir.
Yes, acha. Should I just teach you guys, or do you want to discuss how the reactions are? Tell me that. Because I don't want silent people and they just be listening and saying completely absurd things. So you need to have some background, okay? Like, I hope you remember some parts. So please just upfront tell me now, like, do you remember these terms? Electron rich sites. Can you identify them? Electron poor sites. Do you remember these terms? Electrophilic.
Yes, sir.
What is
Yes, sir.
electrophilic and what is nucleophilic?
Nuclear loving species.
What does that? Okay, no, that is so. Just you have told me. Now I will ask you something. Okay, you tell me what is the nucleophilic site and what is the electrophilic site. Okay. So this is something that you know the term and you know what it is, and knowing the term and knowing the thing, these are two different things. Okay, so I'm now tell me where is I mean, does this have any nucleophilic site or electrophilic site? The molecule that I have drawn here. Yes, I want answers in the chat. So this molecule, it will be electron loving or nucleus loving?
Sir, can you repeat?
No, I am asking, no, you have to choose this molecule here that I have drawn. It is electrophilic, it has electrophilic site or nucleophilic site. It is at electron rich or electron poor. This molecule is electron rich or electron poor. That's what I'm asking. If you are having problem, then I must draw this like this: CH3, single bond CH, double bond CH, single bond CH3. Okay. So you guys know what is electrophilic and what is nucleophilic?
It is nucleophilic.
Why? What is the site then? Okay, so you have many things happening here. You guys
Because of
don't
the
remember.
double bond.
Sorry? What? Maria?
Because of the double bond.
Because of the double bond. Yeah, correct. Good. Okay. So you guys see, there are only few fragments that we have to remember. Okay. Only few fragments that you have to remember. There are some electron sources. Okay. And there are some electron sink. So electron source, it wants to give electron. Electron sink, what it will do, it will eat up electrons. Okay, it will eat up electrons. So electron sources, they will be always some site where the electrons are present. Okay, so you should be looking where the electrons are present. Okay, sites at which electrons are present. Okay, so tell me. Okay, now the electrons, that means the reactive electrons. Okay, the reactive electrons. So the reactive electron, it will never be present in the atom. It will be always present in the bond or in the lone pair electrons. Okay, so no atom. Okay, atoms will never be the electron sources. Electron sources are electron, where the electrons are. So you will be always answering in terms of bonds. So like the most electron rich part will be an atom. Let us say, write A, an atom A, which has some lone pair electrons, right? Because what lone pair electrons, it has the highest If I also, okay, I will give you why these are most reactive. Okay, lone pairs will be most reactive, followed by, if you have A triple bond B, है ना? Similarly, you will have A double bond B, A single bond B. Okay, A single bond B. Now the double bond B and triple bond B, they are somewhat equivalent, because if you look at the orbitals, then you must know that first of all we have, so here the electron sources now. So first of all we will have the sigma. Then what we will be having? We will be having next is sigma is followed by pi, right? And pi is followed by, what is pi followed by?
Sigma star.
Non-bonding. We are just talking about the electron sources now. Okay, electron sources. So non-bonding. Okay, non-bonding. So then we have sigma star, right? Now in the lowest category here, what I can write? In the lowest category I can write A. A means empty. If you have empty orbital. A means if you have empty orbital. Then you will have, what are you going to have? You are going to have the pi star, and then you are going to have the sigma star. Okay, you're going to have the sigma star. Electrons are always in these three. Okay, only on these three, and these three are empty. These three are empty. So these are what? Whenever you have sigma star, pi star, so electrons, they will come to these three molecular orbitals, and they will be going away from these three molecular orbitals. Okay, fine. Now this you may be thinking, sir, this is absurd. We have not learned like this. We have sigma, then sigma star, then pi, then sigma 1s, sigma 2s. So we are not talking about sigma 1s and sigma. Like we are not talking about sigma 1s, more importantly, because in the carbon we have the second shell, which is the valence shell. So I am talking about the 2s 2p thing. Okay, the 2s 2p thing. So in that case, you can see, and more importantly, the 2p. So 2p, it is y, 2p there is x, and 2p there is z. So sigma 2pz, I am talking about the sigma 2pz. Okay, so please remember that portion also. Please remember that portion. So sigma, pi, non-bonding, then empty, then pi star. So we have the highest energies with non-bonding, then we have the pi, then we have the sigma. Okay, that is why the lone pair electrons, they are highly reactive. The lone pair electrons, they are highly reactive. Now in electron sync, what can we have? We can have an atom A, which is bonded to which has only 6 electron pairs with the bonds. So that is why it is what? It is electron poor. It is electron poor. Next thing is that whatever arrows you are drawing, it will be drawn like this. The lone pair will be giving electrons, or the pi will be giving electrons like this, or the sigma will be giving electrons like this. Now, if I am drawing the electron sinks, then the arrow should be going to the atom. Okay, arrow should be going to the atom. Similarly, you can have A triple bond B, and in this case, what is going to happen? The B may be more electronegative. Okay, if B is more electronegative, then the electron can transfer like this. Similarly, can happen with the case of A double bond B. If B is more electronegative, what is going to happen? B is going to take electrons. Okay. Similarly, it can happen if I have A positive. There's some charge here. And it is bonded to no matter how much, then the electrons is going to get to the A positive. Similarly, you can have A and B, and the bond can break, and if bond is breaking, it is going towards the more electronegative atom B. Okay, so please write these things, electron sources and electron sinks, so you remember. So whatever the electron source are, we will be telling them that these are nucleophilic site, and electron sinks are electrophilic site that needs electron. Okay, so maybe you write only these, how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cases, right? So we have 9 molecular orbitals. So whatever steps we are going to do in mechanism, they will be one of those. So either the non-bonding, that means non-bonding means lone pair electron will be going to the empty, or pi star, or the sigma star, right? So 3 steps like this you can see. Or else what could happen? The pi, it will be going to the non-bonding, or this or that. Okay, so again you have how many? You have 3 and 3, 6, and then you have 9 steps that can happen always. Okay, sigma can go to these 3. Sigma electrons can go to these empty orbitals. So I will be trying to show you in each step with each arrow the electrons which are going from non-bonding to either an empty orbital either or a pi star or a sigma star, okay, or a sigma star. So when you are breaking a pi bond, you are moving electrons. When you are breaking pi bond, what you are doing, okay, from here, the electrons are going from non-bonded, right? This is going from non-bonded electron to somewhere else. Now here it is going from pi to somewhere else. Here it is going from, again, pi to somewhere else. Here it is going from sigma to somewhere else. Now in this case, what is happening? The electrons are coming to the empty orbital because it has only 6. The empty is getting some electron. Here what is getting the electrons? The pi star is getting some electron because we are breaking the pi bond. So it is going to pi star, okay? And next, what is happening here? Here similarly, you are getting pi star. Here what you are doing? Here you are giving the electrons to A, that is the empty orbital. And here you are giving the electrons to the sigma star, okay? So please write this down. Let me know if you're done. Then we can talk about the aldehyde and ketones, the carbonyl group. Done, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So right here, the structure of carbonyl group. Okay, carbonyl group. Okay. Now the structure of carbonyl group is we have a carbon atom. Make some space. I need to draw two. Carbon atom, the double bond, and an oxygen. Okay. Now, since the electronegativity difference is there, we will be having delta positive and we will be having delta negative, right? Delta positive and delta negative. Now, the next thing is that since these two are what? This is carbon, this is oxygen, there is electronegativity difference. That means this pi bond can break, right? This pi bond can break and we can also represent carbon and oxygen with a single bond, where the oxygen has a negative charge and carbon has a positive charge. We have broken the bond and the bond has moved from the pi to oxygen. So we can see that the same, see this type of reaction, right? This type of electron flow can happen in carbonyl groups on its own, okay, on its own. Now, from here we can see that there are few reactions that can happen, right? Few reactions that can happen. We have this side, the carbon side, it is what? It is electrophilic, right? Electrophilic site. If this is electrophilic site, then who can attack on carbon? Nucleophiles can attack on carbon. Yes or no?
Yes.
Nucleophiles can attack, na? If you have a positive side, that means the electrons can. Arey, what happened, guys? Where are others? Huh? Mariam, Fatima, Malia, nahi aa raha aap logo ko?
Yes,
No?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you have electrophilic side, then on carbon, what type of reagent will attack?
Nucleophile.
Yeah, nucleophiles can attack, right? Nucleophiles can attack. Now there are two things can happen. Either you can have nucleophilic addition or you can have nucleophilic addition reaction or nucleophilic substitution reactions. Okay, that means which is followed by the elimination of water. Nucleophilic addition, or there can be nucleophilic addition followed by elimination. Then you can add more oxygen atoms to the carbon atom, so that will be oxidation reaction. You can remove this oxygen, that will be a reduction reaction, and then can be a few miscellaneous examples that we will be doing. Okay, few miscellaneous examples that we will be doing. So this is the structure of carbonyl group. Then you can write the reactions of aldehyde and ketone. Reactions. So first of all, you will learn about nucleophilic addition. So whenever you have a pi double bond in which a nucleophile is attacking, then obviously you're going to break the pi bond, and that is why there should be a addition going on. There should be an addition going on. Secondly, nucleophilic addition followed by elimination of water, elimination of H2O. Okay, so this must seem like a nucleophilic substitution, but it is not nucleophilic substitution per se. But if you look at the reactant and the product, it will feel like nucleophilic substitution. But it is addition, which is followed by an elimination. Then the third is oxidation reaction. Oxidation. The fourth is reduction. Okay, and then we will have some miscellaneous. Okay, others you can write. Others. So first of all, we'll learn about nucleophilic addition. We'll do some problems here. Write this down. Let me know if you're done. Done, guys? 5 points.
No, sir.
After this, you also write the heading and then let me know if you're done or not. Okay. So in nucleophilic addition reaction, write this down. Done, guys? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Done? Okay, fine. You've written nucleophilic addition reaction. Now you tell me. We'll write a general mechanism. Okay, we will write a general mechanism that is going to happen. So you have a nucleophile. We have a nucleophile with us. That means obviously it is going to have some lone pair electrons. The negative charge is option. The negative charge is going to be option. Okay, and we have our C double bond O. Okay, C double bond O. Now we all know that due to electromagnetic effect, that means if you have a negative charge here, then what is going to happen? This bond is obviously going to transfer to the oxygen, and this will develop a delta positive charge. This will develop a delta positive charge. So what is going to happen? The nucleophile is going to attack our electrophile, which is carbon. So one thing you should always know that nucleophile here is the reagent, and whatever the name of reaction is, it signifies and represents the nature of the reagent. So if it is nucleophilic addition, that means we have a nucleophile which is going to add. Okay, there is going to be a nucleophile. Okay, there's going to be a nucleophile which is starting the reaction. Now you will have a carbon which has a nucleophile attached to it, and there is a single bond oxygen, and there is a negative charge here. Okay, now followed by what we will do, we will add water. Now if you add water, there will be H plus ion which will be there, and the oxygen, it can grab the H plus ion, and the reaction will stop here. So we saw that we have broken the double bond, and we have formed a carbon nucleophile bond and an oxygen and hydrogen bond. Okay, so this is the intermediate that we have. Okay, and this is the addition product that we say. This is the addition product. This is the addition product. Okay, so this is the simple reaction that we are going to do. There will be many reagents and many different types of nucleophiles that we will be using, but this is a general pattern that we are seeing. Okay, but please, one thing that I want to focus here is, Acha, you tell me about this. Is this an electrophile or a nucleophile? H plus. H plus is an electrophile, right? Ahmed, can you please speak properly? It feels like
Yes,
you're.
sir.
Can you please, maybe, I don't know whether you are sleeping or you are sitting down and writing notes also. Okay, so it is what? Amalya, Fatima, Mariam, Sania, Abir. H plus is an electrophile or a nucleophile?
Electrophile.
It is an electrophile. Hai? So you can see that there are electrophiles in this particular reaction, but the reaction has been named as nucleophilic addition reaction. Why is that? Why is the reaction named nucleophilic addition reaction? Yes.
Because we add nucleophile into it.
Yeah, but we are also adding electrophile now. Okay, fine. That means you guys are not listening. I just few moments before I told you the answer. How are reactions named? So you guys are not listening. Okay, fine. So please write maybe. I don't know what else to do. So write reactions are named by the nature of reagent that initiates the reaction. Okay, so here we are starting the reaction with a nucleophile. That is why it is named nucleophilic addition. This is quite shameful and hurtful for me that you guys are not listening.
So we are listening.
Right, let me know if you're done.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let us talk about the reactivities. Let us talk about the reactivities of nucleophilic addition on aldehyde and ketone. We will compare now. Okay. So we'll write a reactivity. Reactivity. So you can write aldehydes are more reactive than ketones. Aldehydes are more reactive than ketones as they have less steric hindrance. As they have less less steric hindrance. Yeah. You can write the most reactive. The most reactive of all is formaldehyde. It's formaldehyde. Okay, it's formaldehyde. One more reason that you can write that aldehydes are more reactive than ketone, because if you have less steric hindrance, that means you have less alkyl groups attached to aldehydes than that of ketones, and hence the net positive charge will be higher in aldehyde. So in ketones, what there will be some kind of stabilization that will not be getting part in aldehydes. There will be some stabilization in ketones, but in aldehydes, there will be no stabilization by the alkyl groups. So you can write the partial positive charge on carbonyl carbon can be stabilized by the electron donating effects, either you can directly write by the alkyl groups. In ketone, which makes it less reactive towards nucleophilic addition. Than aldehydes. Done, let me know.
No, sir. Done, sir.
Is there anyone who is still writing?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Right. Next point. In general, aromatic aldehydes and ketones are less reactive than aliphatic aldehydes and ketones than aldehyde and ketones, right? Towards nucleophilic addition. Towards nucleophilic addition. Why? What is the reason here? The reason is that the benzene group, it is what? It is electron donating group. So what happens? The aldehyde and ketones, they get electrons from the benzene ring. So it happens like this, that carbon double bond oxygen, hydrogen. So this bond goes here, this bond goes here, and you find C double bond, right? And there is oxygen negative, and there is a hydrogen here. Okay, so you never get a partial, positive charge on the carbon atom of the aldehyde if you have a benzene group. Okay, if you have a benzene group, here you will get a positive charge, but not on the carbon atom. Here. Okay, you can draw more resonating structure that this will go here, right, and then this will go here, and then this will come here. But again, this carbon atom, it will never get a positive charge, right? You can write this is due to the plus M effect of benzene ring which reduces the electrophilicity of carbonyl carbon. Done?
No, sir.
Done, guys? Ahmad, Fatima, let me know if you're not done.
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Done.
So we can write the order such as we have the highest reactivity will be with formaldehyde, followed by aliphatic, other aliphatic, other aliphatic aldehydes, right? Aliphatic aldehydes. Then we will have aliphatic ketones, which will be followed by aromatic, which will be followed by aromatic aldehydes. Okay, aromatic aldehydes, and after that we will have some aldehyde in which we have, let us say, benzene. Will be aromatic ketones, but aromatic ketones can be divided into two parts, na? So I'm writing, let us say, a pH group with a carbonyl carbon and an R group here. Okay, so here we have this carbonyl carbon, which is a ketone, but on the either side, one side you have a phenyl group, that means you have a benzene ring, and on this side you have the aliphatic carbon atoms. Okay, a long chain carbon atom. Now this will be more reactive if you have on both the carbon atoms, on both sides of the carbonyl carbon, you have a phenyl group, and this is going to be more. This is going to be a lesser reactive. Okay, so formaldehyde, aliphatic aldehyde, then aliphatic ketone, and then aromatic. So you can write this as carbon double bond O, a hydrogen and hydrogen. Then you have RCHO. Then here you have aliphatic ketone is R double bond O. Aromatic aldehyde is you have PH, CHO, and this is what followed by PH, C double bond O, and here you have R. Then you have PH, C double bond O, and here you have PH. Okay, PH means phenyl, that means the benzene ring, C6H5. So this is the order of reactivity. I want answers in the chat. I want answers in the chat. Please tell me which one of them is more reactive, A or B, towards nucleophilic addition. Okay, towards nucleophilic addition. Okay, Fatima. Okay, Sania. Mariam, can you please turn the mic on? Mariam, can you please turn the mic on? Yes, Mariam, are you there? No. Amalia, can you turn the mic on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so A, what is it? Is it an aldehyde or a ketone? First, tell me that.
Aldehyde.
Aldehyde, okay. And what is this? B, aldehyde or a ketone?
A ketone.
Okay. Abir, can you please turn the mic on?
Yes, sir.
What is A, aldehyde or ketone?
So aldehyde.
What is B, aldehyde or ketone?
So same aldehyde.
Okay. Amalia, you don't know what is a ketone and what is an aldehyde?
Sorry, sir. I know.
What? How do you compare them? Huh? This is also an aldehyde. Now you tell me. For aldehyde and aldehyde, we don't have any comparison. So you have to tell me whether it is aromatic or aliphatic. Tell me that, Abir. It is aromatic or aliphatic? Abir? A is aromatic or aliphatic?
So aromatic.
That is aromatic. Okay. What about B? Aliphatic or aromatic?
Aliphatic.
What about aliphatic? So this is aliphatic aldehyde and this is aromatic aldehyde. Now you are not able to see the screen or something. What I am missing, Abir? What am I missing? Aromatic aldehyde, now it has lesser reactivity than aliphatic aldehyde. Yes, Abir, what am I missing?
Nothing, sir.
So why did you answer A is more reactive? Which is more reactive, Abir?
Aromatic aldehyde.
Aromatic aldehyde is more reactive?
No, sir. Aliphatic.
Please listen, guys. I don't know what to say. And I don't know what else to say. Same goes with Mariam and Amalia. You have the answer in front of you, okay? So please pay attention, right? Please pay attention. Right, next. Some important reactions. Okay, so you'll be now studying the nucleophilic addition reactions, and the first reaction that we are going to study is, right, number 1, addition of hydrogen cyanide. Addition of hydrogen cyanide. So in this reaction, what we will be having, any aldehyde or ketone we will have, which will have a C double bond O, plus we have here HCN. Okay. Now the important part is that you must know what is a nucleophile and how to break these things, right? So in this case, this H is what, less electronegative, the carbon is more electronegative, so the bond will break something like this first of all, and then you are going to get C, which is a double bond O, and here you will be having H plus ions here, and here you will be having Cn negative ions here, right? Now, as you can already see that what do we have? We have a Cn negative, and here there will be delta positive. There will be negative here. So the Cn negative will add on the carbon. The H plus ion will be attacked by the oxygen. So if you have a carbon, double bond oxygen plus HCN, then you are going to get a carbon and single bond oxygen. Now this oxygen will add a hydrogen here, and this carbon, it is going to add a CN group here, okay, a CN group here. It doesn't matter whatever groups are attached on the carbon atom before the reaction, they will be the same groups, okay. There will be only an addition of the CN group. There will be only an addition of a CN group, okay. Now write some examples. CS3, CHO. So what you need to do, you need to understand these figures first of all, okay. So this is what CS3, there is a carbon atom, and if I react this with HCN, let me write just HCN. So here you will get the CN will attach here, OH will attach here, and then you will have a hydrogen atom, okay. Similarly, if you have so here you will having CN, which is attached here. Oxygen will get OH. Write these things, okay. Write the product here. What will be the product? So in this case, nothing you have to do. You have to just add a CN group here in this carbon atom. So you pick the carbon atom which you are having reactions, and this oxygen will get a OH. Write the questions first, okay. Now here you will add a CN group, and this will get OH here. So one of the simplest reactions that you can have. Now this carbon atom, which already had a hydrogen atom, it will get a CN, and this carbon which was attached with oxygen, it will get a OH here. Okay, so as simple as that it can get.
So can you show the upper part before the exam? Here.
Write the question. Okay, you have written the question, Fatima.
No, sir.
The reactants. Write the reactants. Don't no need to write the products. Okay, I have shown you the product once. You write them on your own now.
Okay, sir.
Done, Fatima.
Yes, sir.
Done.
Yes,
I've
sir.
written the question. Now write a note. Reaction with HCN. Proceeds very slowly. Hence, to increase the rate, a base is added which can abstract the hydrogen, the proton of HCN and form highly reactive CN negative, highly reactive CN negative quickly. So only just the matter of rate. So first of all, what you will be having HCN. I will be reacting this with some base that is OH negative. Now this OH negative, it is going to do what? So whenever you have acid base reaction, it is shown in equilibrium, okay, like this. So you will get what? H2O plus CN negative. Now the CN negative is going to react with the carbonyl carbon. The carbonyl carbon, and what it is going to do? It is going to attack on the carbon, form an oxygen, right? So you have carbon, the single bond CN, single bond oxygen, and this oxygen is going to be a negative, right? It is going to be negative. This is the intermediate that you have. The intermediate that you have. Then you add H plus ion to it. Let me just shift these things a bit. So you already have water here, right? So you can have H plus ions. And then what you will be getting is the carbon, and one bond will be with OH, and the other bond will be with CN. So this is known as cyanohydrin. Cyanohydrin. Aldehydes and ketones. React with hydrogen cyanide, that is HCN, to form cyanohydrin. To form cyanohydrin. Done.
Yes, sir.
All right, next reaction with Grignard reagents. And this reaction, we have completely done this reaction in the alcohol chapters. Okay, so you can write. First of all, what will happen when aldehyde and ketone, they will react with Grignard reagent, they will form an addition product, and that addition product then this, which is hydrolyzed by water, it will give you alcohol. Okay, so first of all, what will happen? The Grignard reagents form addition product on reaction with aldehydes and ketones. On further hydrolysis, they form alcohol. So in the preparation of alcohols, we had done this reaction. So please write, we'll have C double bond O plus R MgX. Now, as we all know, the R group is more electronegative because magnesium is a metal. Metal has the tendency to lose electron. That is why the electron transfer will go something from here, right? So what is more reactive? You have R is more delta negative. This will be delta positive, and this carbon is what delta positive, and this oxygen is delta negative. So obviously, what is going to attack? The R is going to attack on the carbonyl carbon, right? The R negative is going to attack on the carbonyl carbon like this. Wait a second, I wrote delta positive here. This will be delta negative, and the oxygen is going to attack on the Mg part here, right? Oxygen is going to attack on the Mg part here. So what is going to give? It is going to give you an addition product like this. So whatever group was added here, it will be added there only. You will have O with MgX, and here you will be having the R group, which was attached to the Grignard reagent. And on further hydrolysis, if I add H2O in the presence of some acid, that is H2O in the presence of H plus, you will be going to get COH, and here I am going to get an R group. Okay. I will write some examples, but please refer to the reactions with alcohol, okay, and the preparation of alcohol. So you have CH3, CHO plus CH3 MgX, and then what is it is going to give you CH3, whatever we had. Carbon you had, this carbon was attached with a CH3 group, and here we had H group. Oxygen will have MgX, and this carbon will be having the CH3 group, right? CH3 group from the Grignard region. And on hydrolysis, that is H3O plus acidic hydrolysis. What I'm going to get? I'm going to get the same thing, but we'll be having CH3. Here there will be H. Here you can write CH3, and here you can write OH. Right? Simple as that. So alcohol. Write this down. Let me know if you're done. Yes, done, guys.
Yes, sir.
So that's it for today, है ना? We'll